On this week's spooky episode of Marketing O'Clock,
you may agency more data in Merchant Center.
Don't have FOMO because we give you updates on all the new Merchant Center promos.
And we gaze into our crystal ball to speculate on Apple's new promoted pins.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Monday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Elphaba Throp.
AKA the Wicked Witch of the West.
I'm Glenda Upland.
And I'm Greg Finn.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock. I think I stole your line.
Here on November 3rd, 2025.
Hello, everybody. If you're not watching, Greg decided that we're going to dress up in costumes this year for the November 3rd episode.
Wait, what is the day we're recording this episode? It's Halloween.
Yes.
And I understand that you are Albathor or whatever you said. What the hell are you, Julia? What is this costume?
We're business casual Elphaba and business casual Glinda.
I don't know if that's business casual. This costume you have on is not Glinda the Good Witch. This is Glinda the Good Enough Witch.
Excuse me?
You got jeans. What print?
She's Glinda at her internship at a marketing agency.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's with this wand you have here?
It's my my wand.
What does it do? Is it a little fan? What is it?
It blows bubbles when it works.
Again, I pride myself. Oh. I'm very good at Halloween. I was given less than 24 hours notice.
I told her.
He barely told me. We were in a car in Kentucky. He turned around and said, "Are we just up for the Halloween episode?" I said, "I don't really know who's on it." And then we joked about dressing up as each other. And that was all I heard.
No, I said we're dressing up on the Halloween episode when we record.
I'm pretty sure I've been on this show for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And you're choosing this year, 2025, when I'm 32 and a half, to make me dress up. For the first time.
It's Halloween, guys.
We've recorded on Halloween before. And what is your stoom?
I'm Mav from Maverick.
Ah, right.
And we have a mission here today, episode 406. And let's make it a good one.
Okay.
Well, this is going to be a phenomenal show here today. And we have our episode with a new sponsor. This week's episode is sponsored by User-Centrics, the creators of CookieBot, a consent management platform designed for marketers who care about more than just clicks. Users notice when brands actually respect their privacy. Showing that you care builds trust, loyalty, and long-term engagement. It's good marketing. It's good business. And that's why you want to use CookieBot. With CookieBot, you get that trust without sacrificing your campaigns. Consent mode lets you run effective marketing while respecting your users' privacy, giving your audience confidence that you are handling their data responsibly. It's simple to set up, easy to manage, and works for websites of any size. Plus, CookieBot offers a 14-day free trial. And after that, plans start at just $8 a month for a single domain. And for our listeners, we have a special bonus, a spooky bonus here on Halloween, even though it's November 3rd when we're recording. You get 10% off your first 6 months when you sign up through marketingoclock.com/cookiebot. That's marketingoclock.com/cookiebot. 10% off for a full 6 months. Show your audience that you love them, that you value them, that you respect them. And CookieBot by User-Centrics makes privacy-led marketing simple, smart, and trust building.
Getting into the news. You love when we have main news from MacRumors.com, who you gotta love their logo also with the little question mark making the apple.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite websites on the internet. We were tipped off to this story, rumor, in our Discord channel by Drew Cannon, super fan of the show. And this says that Apple's plan to bring more ads to iOS is moving and, quote, gaining traction. The search engine of our dreams, right? It's finally happening, disrupting the industry? No. It's with the Maps app being the next in line. This will apparently give restaurants and other businesses the option to pay to have their details featured more prominently in the Maps search.
That's still cool for SMBs.
It's cool. I just was really excited. I thought it was the Apple search engine.
Never.
Yeah, so I guess Google Maps is doing it, so it makes sense that Apple Maps is doing it. And yeah, if you're an SMB, you could have your location promoted in Apple Maps. But again, just a rumor. We don't know yet. What else is happening this week?
Okay, we've got big news for Merchant Center. And I guess maybe not big news, a lot of news. And I feel like every time there's smoke, there's fire. And it seems like over this past 16 months, Google has really been dialing in on the shopping and Merchant Center updates, which is phenomenal. It seems like that is the future in a way, that they're trying to make shopping work. And one of the biggest things that they announced was Merchant Center for agencies. And you have to go fill out a form, but this feature is exclusively for agencies. And according to Google, Merchant Center for agencies looks quite similar to the old multi-client account MCA, but with functionalities more specifically targeted to agencies and should provide a clearer and more straightforward implementation. If you want to go check out and sign up and apply, there is a form that you need to do. You have to be an agency, obviously. And if you are an existing user and you already have an agency account, you can just go to merchants.google.com and your agency account will be the default view. And you'll be able to get dashboards. So things like summary statistics on account statuses, issues, and diagnostics, which is huge. Even if like you're not an agency, you should figure out how to get this. If you're like internal, you've got multiple brands, multiple merchant centers. Like we have some clients where we have like EU type stores, US stores, things like that. It'd be really helpful to see all your diagnostics across the board. You can also have a quick view of a top 5 starred accounts. So you might be able to see information at aggregate. And then accounts will also have significant changes in key metrics such as clicks and disapprovals. So I don't see any downside to this. Julia, any thoughts? Anything you are thinking with this? And
Who's
why
Julia?
Rude.
What is your name?
Glenda.
Glenda. And why are you still holding that?
Because it's my wand.
Okay.
Why don't you do a little spell?
Ball gown.
Whoa. Oh, you look beautiful.
Okay, that's a dress. It's pink. It's huge. What in the world? I look like a princess. Please tell me this is temporary. I don't even have shoes for this.
In real life on November 3rd, like my Christmas tree is probably up.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Mariah Carey. This is in my basement.
What's the date today again?
October 31st, but the listeners, Greg, the
listeners need a little fun.
Okay. I hope they're having fun with
everybody except Barry Schwartz. He doesn't like fun. So he can listen to audio only. He doesn't like fun.
That's sad for him.
He likes the news. So let's get back to it, Julia.
Okay.
What do you got in Merchant Center?
Next up, Merchant Center is adding promotion analytics, which show you 2 new charts. So the first one is promotions at a glance, and then performance in the last 28 days, which are summary cards to see how well your promos are doing in search. This was first spotted by SERPs Alert, who shared it on X. And I really like this. Perfect timing. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Love it. Greg?
Speaking of promotions within Merchant Center, there's a download option spotted by Emmanuel Flossier over on YouTube on the Feed Army channel. And this just lets you like download the promotion. This isn't like a big one, but again, anytime that Google's making multiple changes and really enhancing something, especially promotions in this case, it's something that you should be aware of. And so with this, you can download the promotion. It sends you like into this text file. And so you can kind of take it and save it if you want to know what the promotion was at any given time. But right now, Emmanuel makes a good point saying you can't take this promotion and re-upload it. There's no upload feature. There's just a download feature. So he was saying and pontificating if there will be an upload option at some point down the road because we have a download. So it'd be nice to be able to do something with it. But again, just a lot of action going on in promotions and Merchant Center.
Lastly, for Merchant Center updates, they're now letting some advertisers define an audience for a promotion. This was first spotted by Heidi Sturrock on LinkedIn. So there's in your audiences section, it says show to all or show to a preferred audience. It says this promotion can be seen by customers who are new to your store or who are based in a certain location. So Heidi had 2 great examples of how you can use this. You could offer specific discounts to new customers, so say like 20% off your first order, or you can run region-specific discounts for a new market without the discount going to everyone. So I like this update. I think it's cool.
And now for this week's
Cool Tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners and is really, really cool.
This week's cool tool is from Glenn Gabe, and it's a tool to stop the AI tool. So he has a great article on GSQI about his issues with bot traffic and how he solved it by setting up Cloudflare with super bot fight mode on. He shows the visit drop-off from after he set this up and then a screenshot of the bot analytics in Cloudflare. If you're in the situation where you're getting a lot of AI bots and scrapers going to your site, it's definitely worth checking out.
Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
This week's Take of the Week comes from Andrew Lolk, and he's talking about AI Max. And he says, right now, AI Max is more theoretical than it is practical. Here's what the real-world experiences show. The pitches from Google reps are AI Max is the only way to get into AI mode and overviews. AI Max drives incremental traffic that dynamic search ads and broad match doesn't. Both things are wrong when tested in actual accounts or even reading Google's official documentation. He goes through talking about the fact that AI Max is not the only way to get into AI mode or AI overviews, and that AI Max does not drive incremental traffic that dynamic search ads and broad match doesn't. And then he has a screenshot. He's got the receipts showing what it takes to get into ads in AI overviews, which are really just existing search, shopping, and performance max. I do think he's correct on a lot of this, but I also do think what is true today does not have to be true tomorrow. And once we actually get ads in AI mode and ads in AI overviews, we might see this change. So I like his take. I appreciate his take, but takes can change. In case you don't know, the old takes exposed Twitter X handle. And I have the assumption that down the road, we'll see AI Max be better and better and better, like we have with Performance Max and like we have with Demand Gen. But great take. Thank you, Andrew.
Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
Today's show is brought to you by User-Centrics, the creators of CookieBot. Marketing is shifting toward a privacy-led approach, and good marketers need to shift with it. Even if you're not in a heavily regulated area, the consumer landscape is changing with much more awareness of data privacy. It's essential for building lasting consumer trust and brand reputation. With CookieBot, you can build trust, stay compliant, and prevent data loss. CookieBot integrates seamlessly with tools like Google Tag Manager, Consent Mode V2, and Google Ads to preserve campaign data integrity and performance. So even marketers like me can set this up. You don't need to have a lot of technological experience. Plus, it's automated and fully customizable. You can even try CookieBot for free for 14 days. And if you like it, our listeners get a 10% off for their first 6 months. So you really can't beat that. Just make sure you click on the link in this episode's description or our newsletter or marketingoclock.com to claim that 10% discount. Thank you, CookieBot. First up in the paid news this week, Robbie Stein, the VP of Product for Google Search, was interviewed on the Silicon Valley Girl channel, which is a YouTube channel, and I just love the name.
Oh, I know. How cute.
So Silicon Valley Girl's host was Marina Moglico, and she asked Robbie, do you feel like Google Ads is going away in the future? And Robbie from Google responded that he doesn't see them going anywhere. He then explained how ads are being tested in AI mode and how they can be helpful. So Barry wrote this up for Search Engine Roundtable, and he was like, I've never heard this asked before. I wasn't afraid. Like,
Yeah. What?
Google's got to eat.
Yeah.
Their revenue numbers just came out, as you're going to talk about. Out of the first ever $100 billion revenue quarter, 56.6 billion came from search.
Yeah. So
It's not going anywhere. And then Robbie was also saying other things, and he kind of tied in some lens stuff too, I would say, where he's like, if you look and try to figure out like what sneakers you have, you might want to see other sneakers and things like that, which makes sense. And then also talked about getting better inputs almost from people. Like an example he used was for like construction on your house. And he's like, what is the size? What type of wood do you have in your house? And things like that, which I thought was good. He was thinking through more like ad inputs, which I'm always here for.
next up, Google just added political ads to the Transparency Center. So in this, you can see not only who paid for the ad, but where it was shown and spend and impression data. So I think what's new for this is you can filter down to political ads only, and it's going to show you the spend data, and creative and text ads examples will be in there too. So, you know, it's that crazy time of year again. Not just the holidays, everyone. Buckle up. Next up, Thomas Etchell spotted that those new customer acquisition goals are already live in demand gen campaigns in some people's accounts. So go in there and go crazy. Next up, Anthony Higman spotted a new chart in the Google Ads Overview tab that truly is extremely off-brand.
Yeah. I'm confused.
Did they make this in Excel? It is not the Google colors. I don't understand. It's a Venn diagram of sorts. It says, show how campaigns work to expand your reach. It has a big circle with 101,000 unique users and cost data representing awareness, and then a smaller red circle with 9.22 thousand users representing saw action. And then there's a very small purple section that shows the overlap between your awareness and your action efforts, I guess.
So you just get to see who takes action on this. So it's essentially a percentage, right? It's just showing who made an action, like a click.
And also saw an awareness ad before, I guess.
Oh,
right?
an awareness ad before.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
okay.
what I
Because I was going to say,
yeah.
like, if you click, you have to be aware of it. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm aware. Another update from Anthony Higman. This is over in LSA land, and it's very detailed. He says day 2 of dynamic ad copy insertion on Google local service ads, and the problems are already piling up. So he says, I'm quite certain that on the one ad type that is being recorded by Google Ads, and when the person calls, there's a whisper message that says, this call is being recorded by Google. It's not attorney-client privilege or confidential. He says, this is the only ad type that you cannot have ad copy that says, all information shared will be kept confidential or confidential conversations. And then there's examples in the SERPs where it says it's confidential on certain ads.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Wild.
I mean, dynamic copy insertion for LSAs does not seem like a great idea. Also, it's Halloween. They should put like little costumes on these headshots. That would be fun.
Oh, cute.
You know?
That's a good update. That's what they should be focusing on.
I also feel like that's the one like vertical you don't want to mess with legally.
Right.
Lawyers.
Update from Microsoft Ads. If you tried to use the UI on October 29th, you probably couldn't. Little spooky season surprise. But by the next day, Nava said it was fixed. She said, we can confirm that search ads were not impacted and there may be some delay in reporting. So it's back up and running for you. Craig Graham is just feeling my pain. He says, you've probably set up portfolio bid strategies and shared budgets before, but have you ever tried to decouple a campaign from a portfolio? Oh. Boy, have I ever. And I just type in portfolio bid strategies every time. Like, I don't know how to find them in there. And then I have to every single time try it 2 different ways.
Yeah.
And then if somebody asks me how, like, I never remember. I have to just try to do it again.
Go back.
What a nightmare. So we can bookmark this,
Yeah.
frame it on my wall. But it says, so first you click settings and then go to the bidding section and then click use a standard bid strategy. I think there is another way to do it, but it's extremely annoying. They
Yeah.
need to make it easier.
Yeah.
Some updates in Metaland from Brom Vanderhalen. CTA stickers are rolling out to more advertisers and Meta ads. So right now they're only available for single video ads that run in stories, but you can choose, if you're going to use these, you can select from generated stickers, which are created by AI and inspired by your chosen video, or you can make your own, which is probably a better idea. But that's great. I love those stickers. Also from Brom, RIP to the Messenger inbox placement.
Oh, good.
Been removed. It's gone. Just forget about it. I hope it didn't work well for you. And finally here, Google is rolling out map pin click reporting in Google Ads and in Google LSA reporting, so you can see that in the interface. That's it for paid. What's happening in organic?
All right, first up in the organic news this week, we have a nice little feature in Search Console where you can see queries now grouped together. So it's a quick way to see main topics about like what your website is ranking for. And you can then see like on aggregate, the traffic volume change, right? So the example that Barry Schwartz has over on Search Engine Roundtable is a conglomerate of terms for something like schema checker. And you can see, wow, this is a 937% increase. Like something's going on in this kind of category. To me, it's similar to what we've seen as advertisers in Performance Max, where if you go to Insights, you can see those groupings there, and it's not necessarily at a keyword level, but it's at the group level. So I think this is cool. I mean, easily hop in and see what's trending up, what's trending down, your top queries, and it's simple, easy reporting, and you don't have to just do multiple or addition or multiplication. That'd be even cooler.
Rare win for Team Organic.
All right, and we've got some big news that is related to purchasing on ChatGPT because OpenAI and the PayPal team have teamed up to power instant checkout with a new thing called ACP, and that is the Agentic Commerce Protocol. So PayPal's tens of millions of merchants will soon be discoverable in ChatGPT, helping connect consumers to businesses that they love. And the coolest thing about this is that with this ACP server, it is allegedly trusted, scalable, compliant, all that stuff. But PayPal will manage the merchant routing, payment validation, orchestration behind the scenes so that everything will be purchasable through ChatGPT, and that retailers allegedly won't have to do as much setup if you sell with PayPal. This ACP will make you automatically in, I guess. There'll be more news coming out on that, but it seems like if you've got the PayPal purchasing solution, there might be a certain level, I'm not sure yet, but you don't have to do all the integration to get into ChatGPT. It's like you're just in there, which is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. And from SimilarWeb, there is some new stats on the generative search, I guess just volume and share, we'll say. So Grok is gaining ground, Perplexity is climbing, ChatGPT is continuing to lose share, and Gemini is dipping slightly. They've got a little chart here, and you can see that OpenAI is down from what I would assume is roughly about 85% down to about 72% in this chart. And you can see some of these other generative AI engines sending more traffic. The biggest winner here has been Gemini, making up the eating away, I guess, at ChatGPT. All right, another tool here launched by Perplexity is something called Perplexity Patents. It's a new IP intelligence research agent. So if you are in the patent game, I just thought this was interesting that I'm assuming patents are very hard to search on, and Perplexity is trying to combat that with AI with this new Perplexity Patents item. Okay, and I'm just going to read a headline here. Is that cool? Just read a headline. The headline from Search Engine Land is 90% of businesses fear losing SEO visibility as AI reshapes search.
What's wrong with the other 10%?
In other news, 10% of businesses are stupid. Like, yeah, who wouldn't be worried?
Yeah.
Like if traditional search has driven a lot of revenue and success for you and things are changing, wouldn't you fear losing some of that? Like, or is 10% of people, are they just, that you should not exist, I guess, those 10% of people. Anyway, 87.8% of businesses says they're worried about their online findability. 85.7 said they're investing in AI or LLM optimization, and 61.2% plan to increase their SEO budgets due to AI. 90% are worried, 61% are going to be doing something about it. All right. And this was kind of a shocking study, but there was a look at the quality of traffic that came from ChatGPT in particular. And it seemed that LLM traffic from ChatGPT underperformed every single traditional channel except for paid social media across key financial metrics such as conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session. So this showed that 90% of LLM originating e-commerce traffic came from ChatGPT, that ChatGPT trailed paid and organic search at a revenue per session, but did beat paid social, and that ChatGPT referrals had lower bounce rates than most channels, but organic paid search were still the best on bounce rate. So that traffic might not be as great as we are hearing, and the authors of the study said that the results contradict widespread expectations of LLM superiority. So who knows?
I don't use an LLM when I'm like ready to convert, you know?
Yeah.
I have though, but I also like, it's kind of hard to do it right within there. And then I feel like ChatGPT, like the links are still bad. You just get that little teeny gray link there, and it's like, I might do the research there, figure everything out. Like I literally bought a pair of shoes, but I went to the Dick's Sporting Good app because I couldn't, it didn't send me to where I wanted to go.
Oh, so it's only in ChatGPT. It's not like if you
traffic.
click. Okay.
So I would have to, in that case, they gave me a list of options. I'm like, I'm a Dick's member. I get points and I have free money there. I'm going to go see if they have it there. And they did. So like, there's no way to track that either, obviously.
Yeah.
And lastly here, YouTube had showed off this week some new updates aimed at improving its TV user interface. So the big updates here are trying to match QR codes that can identify and shop for items in tagged videos. So the AI can match, it seems like, the product showing, and then also AI-powered upscaling and better search for YouTube. So an interesting fact I thought from Nielsen is that YouTube accounted for 12.4% of the total audience time spent watching television, beating media platforms like Disney, Paramount, and Netflix on television. That's crazy. And so it also seems that YouTube can support QR codes and videos where creators can link specific products to their content. So I don't know if it's AI necessarily. There wasn't a ton of information on this, but if you're a creator, maybe you could put those links in and they'll turn into QR codes, but pretty cool either way. That's it in organic. What's happening in social, Glinda? Did I get it?
You did. Great job. First up for social from The Verge, Pinterest has a new AI shopping assistant that can help suggest your next look. So this launched last week and it's slowly rolling out over the next few months, but essentially you can talk to Pinterest about what you're looking for, and the assistant will come back with personalized recommendations based on saved collections and current on-screen pins, and then it will narrate the results. So it's supposed to be more conversational, and apparently it's the only AI assistant that talks to you, and I don't really think that's a flex, and I'm a little afraid of it. But it's optional and not a replacement for text-based search, but if you've been wanting to have a convo with Pinterest, you now can soon.
Did you talk to this Pinterest assistant for your Glenda outfit?
No.
No, she talked to
I talked to
Christine Zernheld.
I did. Ever heard of her?
Yes.
You couldn't tell.
I know
She's
her.
wearing all my clothes.
I know her as Ebenezer, the Wicked Witch of the West.
Ebenezer.
What's the name?
Elphaba. Everyone deserves a chance to fly, okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't Maverick fly?
Yeah, way faster than Witch.
Okay. And
don't.
does he...
Shoot you right out of the air if I saw you coming.
Is your chain true to the bit, or is that a little
Vortex?
fin? No, your chain.
Oh, this is my chain.
Oh.
I'm sure that Mav has a chain.
Okay.
Do you think
Still
he has a
hating on the
magic
chain.
bracelet?
Is he a Scientologist?
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Next up, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but it's officially rolled out just in time for spooky season, even though it's November 3rd. Threads has fully launched Ghost Posts, which is when you post something and then it disappears after 24 hours. I still don't get the point, but I'm happy for them.
They just want it to be Halloween, I think.
Next up, Meta's adding AI-powered updates to lead gen ads, so Advantage Plus leads campaigns are now an option globally.
They are? Oh my God, they are?
I know. When I read this, I was like, oh, I gotta tell Shop. We'll see. Probably
I've got
not.
all these e-commerce campaigns and you got to jerry rig it and give it a lead.
Yeah.
It's such a nightmare.
I know. They're everywhere but your account.
Did you do this with your little wand there?
Yeah, I did. I've been wishing the whole time. That's why I've been holding it the whole time. They also are rolling out a new lead qualifying tool that will ensure the leads you're getting are legit. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I hope it does something. And then they're testing an automated lead gen agent, which will respond to lead gen ad queries. I feel like this is not a good look, depending on what the form is, but I'm happy for them. They're trying new things. We'll see if any of them are good.
Did they use the word legit or did Glinda?
Glinda.
I have Advantage Plus purchase campaigns and then I have to change the goal to leads and then all these features like aren't available. So having an actual Advantage Plus leads campaign where people understand how to set it up without like the dark corners of Reddit sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there, even if you're a wicked witch.
No.
More AI news. TikTok is adding new AI editing tools for creators, so you can now convert longer videos into short clips. They're calling this Smart Split. They're also rolling out an AI outline, which generates video titles, hashtags, hooks, and outlines based on your popular content. Pinterest, more AI things, is adding recommended board editions that give you prompts for items that are similar to products you've already saved or shown interest in. So they have a Make It Yours element that shows recommendations based on your existing saved pins, and then a More Ideas that recommends things that are related to your pins. So literally everything's just AI. And then LinkedIn is making it easier to activate thought leader ads in the app. So now when you go to search for one, it will just highlight relevant posts that you can pick from. I don't really know that this makes it that much more helpful, but I'll take it. Those are weird to set up, so it's a win.
Cool. And we have a new segment here. It's called Checking In on AI. I'm going to read a paragraph and a sentence from a new Wired article. For the first time ever, OpenAI has released a rough estimate of how many ChatGPT users globally may show signs of having a severe mental health crisis in a typical week. The company said Monday that it worked with experts around the world to make updates to the chatbot so it can more reliably recognize indicators of mental distress and guide users towards real-world support. In recent months, a growing number of people have ended up hospitalized, divorced, or dead after having long, intense conversations with ChatGPT.
That's terrible.
Is that real?
Probably.
You don't ever
I
want
can see like divorced, but dead?
you don't want want any of those three. That's a bad trifecta. Hospitalized, divorced, or dead.
That's insane.
So in a given week, OpenAI estimated that 0.07% of active ChatGPT users show possible signs of mental health emergencies related to psychosis or mania, and 0.15% have conversations that include explicit indicators of potential suicidal planning or intent. So the good news is the newest version of ChatGPT, GPT-5, is designed to express empathy while avoiding affirming beliefs that don't have basis in reality. I totally see this. The text version of ChatGPT is like, I could see people just talking to the. Do you use not the text version, the audio version
Oh, no.
of ChatGPT?
I've watched you use it.
Yeah,
and I don't like what I see.
I use it all the time, and I could see people being like, "Oh, I don't have anybody to talk to. This is
Watch
cool."
out.
What is a question we want to have answered?
Is Alphaba wicked?
Is alphabet in Wicked?
Yes, the alphabet is definitely present in Wiccan traditions. It's often used in various rituals and spells, and sometimes the letters are associated with different magical correspondences. It kind of depends on the specific tradition or the practitioner.
Why is she using filler
Like, what
words?
religion are
Yeah.
witches?
That's a great question. Witches can be part of various religious or spiritual traditions. For example, some identify as Wiccans, which is a specific modern pagan religion. Others might practice traditional witchcraft or be part of different pagan or folk.
But she's like going, like,
Yeah.
she'll be like, great question. Oh, that's so interesting.
I also don't like how she drags her S's.
No, they
Finish your sentence.
they make it so that you get hooked talking to this thing.
That's
If
scary.
you are,
I do not like
if
that.
you don't have any intellect.
I don't like it.
And
one
you
bit.
talk to it?
I mean, I talk to it because I don't want to type stuff in.
That's fair. I don't like her voice.
I also named her Cherry.
Cherry?
Cherry.
With a J
Cherry?
or a
Cherry.
C?
Not
Like-
Jerry. Cherry.
Why?
You don't like it?
What is
Not
the reason?
at all.
I had to give her a name.
You could have picked
Any
anything
name.
else.
Well, hopefully I don't end up hospitalized, divorced, or dead. Oh, wait. I already knocked one of those off the list.
And that brings us to our real life segment, straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
Hardly working for me this week is last click attribution. If you're running Meta ads, we have a client who we just did like a big wrap report for them, and looking at all conversions in platform compared to last click, Google ads 77% of like the conversions that we saw on the platform were also represented in the last click data. Microsoft ads was 102%. We actually saw more conversions last click than what we saw in the platform. Meta ads, only 24% of the conversions that we saw in platform were also last click. And all year before we had this last click data, we saw the most conversions in platform for Meta ads. We saw the cheapest conversions in platform for Meta ads. So we just kept spending there. But when you look at last click, it just does not tell the full story, and it's really not great.
Wow. Hardly working for me this week is in demand gen campaigns when you're filtering, like trying to add certain products in there. Every other campaign type, you can like filter by custom label and then segment your custom label further and then segment that further, like down to an item. Demand gen, no. You also cannot bulk upload. So if I have, say, like 100 SKUs I need to add to something, I have to sit there and copy paste them individually. And so that's what I spent my morning doing.
That's
and
disgusting.
I'm upset about it.
Well, good news for you. Something that is working hard for me is demand gen without a feed. I feel like everybody gets super excited in the e-commerce space, being like, oh, we can show more products. And there isn't need for this, especially if you're doing remarketing and people have visited or seen products. But we had an account where we switched over to like really, really nice sale-based creative, and the results were substantially better than what you see with like one little product pop up, especially when you have something else you're trying to promote. It's just when you have demand gen and you pull in a product feed, it a lot of times just shows that product and you fail to get that sale message across. And more on that to come in the must-read marketing article, so stay tuned.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI.
ICYMI people,
This is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have.
ICYMI people, Notorious JSG Jill Saskingales is letting us know that you can get aggregated performance data for your RSA headlines and descriptions in Google Ads. So across campaigns, across ad groups. She says, for example, if you use the same headline for her, it's Google Ads Coach. Across 23 different RSAs, you can view consolidated impressions, clicks, costs, etc. on that one headline. So this is not new, but it's something that people might not be aware of. So thank you for the tip, Jill.
Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
This week's must-read marketing article of the week comes from Ben Abel over on LinkedIn, and he's talking about demand gen. And he said, when I first tested Google's new demand gen campaigns, I honestly didn't expect much. Everybody said it was Display 2.0. When I started running UGC YouTube Shorts through demand gen, not product feed ads, not static banners, my CPA dropped, CTR shot up, and we hit consistent 4+ ROAS on cold audiences. The catch, it only worked when I broke every piece of traditional advice about campaign setup. This is what I was alluding to before. And Ben goes through and talks about the campaign setup that you should use, your ad structure, creative style, and measurement. It's definitely a must read. Thanks, Ben. And now we are on to our interview with Jack Chambers Ward, our UK correspondent from Candor. I have a very special guest here today on Marketing O'Clock. The one and only Jack Chambers-Ward, our UK consultant here at Marketing O'Clock, and also host of Search with Candor, and you work at Candor in case anybody can't read the sign behind you. Jack, thank you so much for jumping on today and chatting.
My pleasure, Greg. Thank you so much for having your official UK consultant finally join you on the show. Since I had you on the podcast a couple of months ago, it was, like I said to you before, I've been a long time listener, first time caller kind of vibes, right?
Well, you're welcome back anytime. Anytime that there's anything UK, I'm just going to message you on LinkedIn and get the real details so that I don't sound like a stupid bloke, I'll say. I wanted to get your take as well. I know we kind of looked at maybe more like a Gen Z side of things, like would we use this browser? And that's been some like of the biggest news, I would say, is the fact that ChatGPT OpenAI has launched Atlas. And have you played around with Atlas a lot? Like how much have you been using Atlas?
I have played around with Atlas a little bit. I am not a Mac user, so it's only been through my colleagues' laptops and systems and stuff like that. I've been using Comet a lot, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a moment, and kind of playing around with some of the Gemini integration in Chrome as well. So I'm kind of dipping my toes and testing and experimenting and stuff like that. There's quite a few conversations I was having at Brighton SEO last week as well. A lot of people were discussing the launch of Atlas and how agentic browsing is going to change the face of the internet. And I feel like it's a conversation we have every like 5 to 10 years, right? Something is going to change the face of the internet.
So are you a big ChatGPT user?
Not especially, no. I think a lot of people use it more than I do, but I definitely have tested and experimented, especially like things like podcast workflow stuff, especially with things like emails and the kind of the basic kind of stuff. I don't think I'm much of a, because I know you had Callie on the show, like you said, the Gen Z perspective. I am unfortunately 35 years old, so not Gen Z. So not quite as integrated into LLMs and stuff in my life, but I always want to be aware of the technology I'm talking about on the show and conversations we're having in the industry, right? So I do try to experiment and play around with it, but it's not become like a integrated part of my life just yet.
Okay, and before we move on to Comet, I wanted to get your take on the search functionality within Atlas. I'd say it's fairly different than what I was expecting. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me, it felt more like ChatGPT than I was expecting, if that makes sense. I don't know, like I wanted something to feel quite different and quite unique, but it did kind of feel like a layer of ChatGPT over everything, which I guess is kind of what we should have expected, right? But I think Atlas specifically, because it's got the ChatGPT name behind it, much more than Perplexity and Comet, I think will capture people's attention. And I think because people are already, like I said, more so than I am, integrated into the ChatGPT and OpenAI kind of ecosystem, it might come a bit more naturally. What's been your experience with Atlas so far, Greg? Have you had a chance to play around with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think if you are a big ChatGPT user, and I would honestly say that outside of work, in my personal life, I use ChatGPT far more than I use Google now. I'm at that point where for like very commercial products and things like that, I will end up at Google Shopping, but that influence, like I want to know what is a good running shoe for somebody that pronates, and I will use ChatGPT, see some of those listings. I may go reference some of those things, but I kind of start on ChatGPT. And I think if that's something that you like, if that's important to you, that could be really helpful. I do think it's just a very different experience to me when you just type up in there and it goes ChatGPT. Like that's fairly different than Chrome, where you just start getting a huge list of answers in a search format. I'd also say it reminded me of 10 Blue Links when you just hop in there and actually go to the web.
I was talking to my parents about this the other day and how, like you said, that kind of ability to just ask questions is so accessible. And I think it's going to be literally accessible for people with user needs to actually interact with websites, people who use screen readers and stuff like that, right? And even people who are less tech savvy in that way, like my parents who only fairly recently learned to order things on Amazon in like 2024. there's a real kind of like, okay, you can kind of automate some of the processes. I think, and I don't know, we've talked about this before, and you guys have talked about it on the show before. Like, we kind of know how to use Google at this point, right? Like, we have been around using Google for 20 plus years at this point. We know what to type in, and sure, conversational search is changing, but I don't think I need Atlas to do half of the things for me. I kind of know how to browse the internet, and I didn't quite feel patronized in that way, but there is a little element of that of like, I know what I want, I know how to get it. You don't need to go through these 3 different steps. I think the follow-up question kind of side of things, which is obviously a huge part of the LLM experience in general, can be really interesting and lets you explore it in more detail. But like you said, it ends up kind of looking 10 blue linky, right? You get a lot of the shopping results, and for me, Amazon was popping up all over the place when we were playing around with some like transactional and e-commerce searches and stuff like that. But I don't think I really need that much of an assistance. Maybe that's me being overconfident as a user.
No, I agree. I mean, I just think there will be some people, obviously, where ChatGPT is number one, and they use that like 90% of the time over something like Google. They're probably like 15 right now, you know what I mean? But a browser like this seems to fit that mindset a lot more. Obviously, we are built differently from our experiences. And then do you think that let's call it that agentic helper that's built into Atlas, is that something you think you would use if you're like, find other products within Nike that are similar, options or something like that, and ask it right within the website itself?
Yeah, I think that is the most interesting thing for me as someone who works in SEO from a search perspective, right? When you, like you said, when you're literally interacting with a page and searching there and then, again, it's been the buzzword of 2025, right? Brand. Everyone's talking about brand and SEO at the moment. And if you can essentially have a new form of internal search, for want of a better phrase, while somebody is already on your website, that is a pretty powerful position you're in as a brand already, right? And like you said, if people are searching for, I don't want running shoes that are made with this material. I want a breathable kind, or a kind with a thinner sole or a thicker sole, and all that kind of stuff. Not every website has that kind of filter, and not every, e-commerce site is going to have, every particular CMS is going to have every filter you're looking for. And I've talked to colleagues, I've talked to peers before, where you can really kind of revolutionize an e-commerce business with, hey, by the way, look at your internal search data and see what people are searching for, create filters and category pages for that kind of stuff. And for me, this is almost like an evolution of internal search as well. Like you said, you can ask a question directly about the page and say, okay, does this shoe, does this particular product answer my issue and resolve that, customer problem for me that I asked in my prompt? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And then exactly as you said there, Greg, you can follow up with are there any other products on this site that would be better suited to me? And I guess you kind of get into the question of like, well, why didn't you serve those to me in the first place? But yeah, I like that ability to kind of filter around and kind of escape some of the restrictions of CMSs and stuff, because websites can be pretty clunky, even for big brands, even for big sites. And a way to kind of dodge the potentially clunky like main navigation of some sites could be an interesting way of browsing internally as well.
Yeah, but just remember, not many people are on Atlas, so still work on that search, work on everything, categorization.
Yes.
And
Don't just throw your SEO strategy in the bin.
Okay, so now I want to talk Comet. And if people aren't familiar with Comet, it is the Perplexity browser. Are you like a avid Comet user?
I have used Comet every day since it launched. So I was at Brighton at a conference for a couple of days. So not those couple of days. But if I've been at a computer, I have used Comet, and I have used it for things so we're hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to jinx myself here, planning a conference next year. And I was using it for like venue research and stuff, and literally put in the prompt of what size venues, what area, give me the links to their pricing pages if available, all this kind of stuff. And it was pretty impressive how quickly it kind of built a comparison page and created a lot of the tables and seemed to get most of the information right. I think the agentic stuff for me that is built into Comet is particularly interesting because it's on by default. you have to go out of your way to turn on the Atlas stuff, right? Which I didn't realize at first until we were playing around with it in the office the other day, and then suddenly realized, oh, it's not doing any agentic stuff. Oh, you have to go and turn that on purposefully and be conscious of that. The fact that Comet has that built in automatically, I think is a really interesting element where people might not even realize they're doing agentic searches until it's too late. And I think it does a lot of the good stuff where it comes to researching and gathering sources of data. I found Perplexity in general, even before Comet as a browser was launched, was the best option for that kind of more sort of research information based kind of browsing and searching. The one I've not used is Copilot integrated into Edge. Have you had a chance to play around with Copilot Edge yet?
I've not. I've only used like the standard Copilot that's non-Edge based. A question with the Perplexity side or Comet side of things. So is that your main browser now? Or are you still like Chrome?
I'm still Chrome for a lot of stuff. So like, for example, us recording right now, I'm on Chrome, and a lot of the kind of, I know, again, like Callie mentioned on the show, like the sensitive information and stuff, for some reason it feels more normal to give Google all of my banking details and all of the incredibly personal details and things like that than to throw it at Perplexity. Not that I necessarily trust one mega corporation over the next, but again, I think it's just that habit sort of thing, right? And I think that ties massively into what we have been talking about so much in the industry of what you have to do, or what do competitors have to do to fight against Google, being the absolute David versus Goliath that is this search industry, right? We talk about, oh, you're going to get more LLM traffic and more people are using Comet than ever before. It's like, yeah, but that's a tiny, tiny little sliver of percentage of the overall web users. And I know that ties a lot into a lot of the DOJ trial stuff, the antitrust stuff that's been happening with Google as well, discussions of them divesting and diverging Chrome away from Google and all that kind of stuff. For me, I think Comet, I'm going out of my way to use Comet on purpose because I'm in this industry, because I'm trying to be aware of the technologies that are happening. If I was just some random dude working in a different industry, I have no idea if I'd even know it exists, let alone be like consciously experimenting and playing around with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I have Comet. I don't really like use it a lot. I should more. Do you use the assistant option that's like kind of like built right in there with Comet that does sort of like that chat GPT on the side of Atlas?
Yeah, I quite like that side of things. Like I said, I think there's that almost like balance between the side assistant kind of thing, which is kind of how Chrome feels at the moment, right? With the Gemini stuff, there's never that full integration with Chrome and Gemini. But I think Comet, if you're not looking for that full kind of switch over and you're kind of, I don't know, soft launching yourself into AI search and AI browsing, that's a way you can do it with that assistant side of things. And for me, that is interesting to, like you said, kind of point you in the right direction a couple of times, or if you're experimenting with a couple of things, it is handy to have that little sidebar. I quite like just winging it and seeing what happens, you know, and just flying by the seat of my pants and seeing what happens, because I'm kind of in an experimental kind of zone. I'm not using Comet everyday browsing, so it's kind of like I'm more in the let's see what happens, see if I can break it, let's see what happens kind of vibes.
Okay, yeah, and then just so you know, everybody listening, Comet is now free to everybody, right? Like it used to be a paid service, it is now free. One other thing that might get people to at least test Comet out, and I think this is all like really good. It's like, this is the feature. We need to know the feature if this is like our jobs and this trying to drive traffic to sites. But there's also a summarizes page on Comet, where I just went to your last episode of Search with Candor, exploring social health and career growth, and I just hit the summarize button, and it says, this is a special live episode of the Candor podcast. And then it says, the episode focuses on intentional social connections, practical tips, insights from the audience, real life stories, expert advice. So even if you might not want to use, let's say, Comet for everything, there are some really cool features that are built right into there. And I think, to me, those are some things that can move the needle for users, right? Is it even just the simple ability to summarize something and see if it's like up your alley before you invest like the time in reading or, listening to something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the side of things, almost when it comes to kind of that bloat of browsing, right? I know plenty of us in digital marketing and marketing in general will end up having various Chrome extensions of, there's a thing that will pull out the metadata of this page, or you'll be able to see the keywords for this page or whatever. There's so many of those extensions we play around with. And I know my taskbar is often covered in logos I don't even recognize anymore half the time. It's kind of nice to just go in clean and just be like, here's Comet. It feels kind of fresh. It feels kind of new. And exactly as you said there, you get nice little things like those summarize. I've got ADHD. I don't have time to read every single article every single time, especially if I'm like collecting the news first thing on a Monday morning that I do for our newsletter we do every week. I'm like, I kind of need to get the gist of, is this relevant to me or not, before I read it in detail and actually need to properly understand it. Can you just summarize this for me? Is a really, really handy feature. I hadn't actually tested it on my own podcast page, so I appreciate you put me through the ringer there, Greg.
Okay, and then just to kind of recap on our browser battle conversation here today, so Gemini is now in Chrome. Is that something that you currently use, or like, what are your thoughts on that if Chrome is still your main browser?
It's a kind of play around with it kind of situation, right? I have not fully integrated it into my workflow or anything like that, and I think it differs slightly, especially with how it works. It pops up in a separate window rather than a separate tab, right? It's not the little like taskbar-y thing. It can literally be in a separate section, and I find Gemini pretty hit and miss. I have done quite a lot of the for want of a better phrase, kind of put the same prompt into multiple LLMs and see what Claude versus Perplexity versus ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Copilot. Ask them to all do the same thing. How do they respond, kind of thing. And I think ChatGPT is probably the most consistent, like decent. Perplexity has been my favorite in terms of the answers I've been given. And I think because I do a lot of research kind of stuff, like I said, Gemini I find really hit and miss. Sometimes it's brilliant. Sometimes it's absolutely unusable. And I'm kind of hesitant to integrate that too much into my browsing experience, considering my current opinion of Gemini. But yeah, I've not fully, like I said, kind of integrated that. Even though I'm using Chrome as we speak and probably should be more aware of it, I've not really played around with it enough compared to Comet and a couple of the other ones as well.
And I think that's funny because this is the second week in a row, right? We talked about Kelly last week where wasn't too certain about using something like OpenAI with all the unknowns, and you kind of echoed that again this week. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm use Chrome for like my business browser, and I don't want it seeing every single little thing that I have and bring it into Gemini. It probably already is, but like I don't want to turn that on and be like for me that's like my work browser, right? And then if I want to go do something else or summarize or do some other things, I've got these other options out there. So I think that's kind of like an interesting thought to it. I wonder, might just be us because we're kind of like working all day, but I could see that being like a downside almost to Chrome.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder, almost like I'm sure you know this working in PPC for so long, Greg, the age-old thing of like, oh, if you target users who use, back in the day, Internet Explorer and Edge, it's more likely to be those B2B businesses, those big enterprise kind of companies that they're stuck with their default browser because the IT in that company doesn't let you change it. So if you're targeting Internet Explorer and now Edge users, you're more likely to get kind of B2B audience stuff, right? I wonder if, yeah, like you said, that would kind of shift in a similar way. I quite like the idea of having it sounds more sinister now I say it out loud, like personal browser. That sounds like I'm up to no good. I promise I'm not. It's all totally above board. I have a personal browser and a work browser. Like, I feel like I kind of have that on my phone a lot of the time anyway, because like you said, you would go to ChatGPT on your phone more than you would open Chrome or whatever, right? And I'm interested to see, yeah, if that's enough for people to kind of start playing around and experimenting. Again, coming around to I don't think you can just be better to beat Chrome because Google and Chrome are so integrated into our lives. The literal thing in your pocket usually has the default search of Google and defaults to Chrome and all that kind of stuff, whether you're Android or Apple. And I think you really need to do something interesting and different and make it easier for the everyday user. Like you said, Greg, not just us working in the industry that is paying attention to this kind of stuff. How do you convince my parents, my friends, my partner, whoever it is who doesn't work in this industry to switch over? I think there is a massive barrier of like convenience versus features. How good do you have to be to overcome the convenience of, I'll just keep using Chrome, whatever. It's default, right?
Yeah. So even if you can't get into Atlas because you're a PC user like Jack and myself, Comet could be a good option to test. And then Jack, just kind of like parting words, would you recommend that if you're in marketing and you're trying to understand some of the sort of new browsers, new mindsets maybe, that they should check out Comet, Atlas, or, any other of these kind of newfangled browsers?
I will go out on a limb and say try out Comet for sure. I think mostly because it's the most widely available one. Like you said, it's now free. If you're not on macOS, you can't get the ChatGPT Atlas side of things yet. But yeah, Comet I've found has been the most interesting consistently. It's given me the best results I've seen so far. And I think it can be pretty kind of raw at times, kind of unrefined. But like you said, if you're listening to Marketing O'Clock, if you're watching Marketing O'Clock, you're already probably in this industry and want to start experimenting with this stuff. So yeah, go and check out Comet and play around, experiment. Like you said, see if you can break it and test the limits.
And I think you get the most kind of search-like experience where you still have options
Absolutely.
on like a ChatGPT. So it's an easy one to start with. Everybody go check that out. And then Jack, if people want to subscribe to that newsletter you're talking about, hear your podcast, get more Jack, where do they go?
You can subscribe to Core Updates, which is the weekly newsletter I do about SEO news every Monday morning at coreupdates.com. You can find Search with Candor wherever you're watching or listening to Marketing O'Clock. You can also find Search with Candor, or you can go to withcandor.co.uk and find everything there, links to both of those things. And I am pretty much JLW Chambers on everything if you want to come and follow me on LinkedIn and all the other social media places as well.
All right, then we're going to have you back just to hear you talking about conference prep and all that stuff when that does come to fruition, because that would be an interesting episode. Anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome. And thank you very much for being our UK correspondent.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will definitely have to catch up about conference stuff in the future. I just did my first big talk on a big stage, and it was pretty intimidating. So yeah, we'll definitely have to catch up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Greg.
And now on to our playlist of curated songs to work to. You can head over to playlist.marketingoclock.com to listen to Marketing a Playlist. I will be adding the Monster Mash.
Nice.
What an ad for November 3rd.
You're the one who made me wear a costume. Julia?
I'm going to add Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish in honor of Alex and Val because they should have got a 10, all 10s on Halloween night.
Greg?
Is that some Dancing with the Stars BS?
It is indeed. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to add Till the End by Hunter Metz.
All right, that does it for today's show.
It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Thanks for listening.
We miss you already.
We can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.